Hustle culture is ruining your health. Hey, I'm Rachel Harper. I am your host of Changing the Face of Wellness podcast. I am also the founder and creator of the Heal, Grow, Reset movement. Listen, if you are here and you are listening, number one, wellness is your place of healing. Number two, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe to this podcast so that you never miss an episode. Let's jump right into it. Hustle culture. Hustle culture is the way, especially in America, in which we're always on the go, doing all the things, yet saying we are being productive. We're just trying to get to our next level. We are just, we're grinding, right? But really what hustle culture is, it is this mentality that we always have to be on, in lack of another word. It's like, I always got to be going. I always got to be moving. I always got to be striving. I always got to be going. It's go, go, go time at all times. I'm always moving. I'm always going, and I never slow down. Now, the goal of hustle culture, of hustling and always moving, always grinding, always going, is to reach this next level. I'm trying to reach this next level of success. I'm trying to get to that next level in my career or in my business. I'm trying to get to that next, I'm trying to reach this vision that I see. But in order for me to reach the vision and reach the goal, that means I got to always be going. I always got to be moving. I always got to be hustling. Now, listen, hustle culture may end up being the death of you. Literally, it is affecting your health. It's causing you to have fatigue. It's causing you to be frustrated. It's causing you to sit in a place almost of depression. It's causing you to feel like maybe this vision isn't for you. Maybe you don't like what you're doing anymore. It's causing you to quit, and it's causing your health to be affected. Now, one of the things about hustle culture, how it affects your health, it affects your heart. Right? One of the things we often talk about here is your heart. It affects your heart. When we look at Proverbs 4:23, it says, above all else, guard your heart. One of the places that you need to guard your heart from is hustle culture. Always needing to be on one, always needing to be going and moving and doing something. It's going to affect your health. It'll affects your blood pressure. One of the things we know about your heart, especially as a Black woman who might be a part of hustle culture, is that you are 352% more likely to die prematurely from high blood pressure. Hustle culture can cause that high blood pressure because of that stress that happens from hustle culture. So when you have that stress, it is stress on you mentally, it is stress on you physically, and physically it is affecting your heart. Okay? It is affecting your heart. Literally, it is physically affecting your heart. It is causing your blood pressure to increase. Not only that, it trickles into the things that you're eating, because now I'm hustling. I'm always going. I never slow down. That means I barely have time to eat the right foods. I don't have time to eat nutritious food. So I'm going to be grabbing things from snack machines while I'm at work. Or, if they bring cakes and cookies and donuts into the into the break room at work, I'm just going to grab those things. I'm just going to grab that. So now, not only am I stressing, I'm now stress eating, and I'm eating things that are going to cause my blood pressure to increase because I'm eating too much salt. I'm eating too much sweets. I'm eating too much foods that are not real, not created by God, right? They are made in a factory, chips, sodas, all those things. Okay. When it comes to hustle culture, there's a lot of trickle down effects. So not only are you now stressed, not only are you now stress eating, but now you're not resting. You don't know how to sleep. You don't know how to slow down. That means not only do I not get my 6 to 7 hours of sleep, but I don't even rest. I don't sit in a place of rest. My mind is always thinking, what's next? Your mind is always thinking worry. Your mind is always thinking the next decision, the next move. Where do I go next? And so when you don't sit in that place of mental rest, wherever your mind goes, that means your body is going to go as well. So now your body is doing what? Your body is stressed. Now your body has those different risk factors showing up. Now, here it is. Heart disease is the number one cause of death among men and women in America. So if you are in America, know that heart disease, that means heart attack, strokes, needing stents put in, high cholesterol, all that cholesterol that's put in your vessels, in your body. When we look at the risk factors for heart disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, obesity, a sedentary lifestyle, diabetes, those are risk factors. But one of the things that they don't list is hustle culture. I feel like they should add hustle culture there. because hustle culture causes stress, which is another risk factor. I understand hustle culture. It has been very near and real to my life. When I was a teacher, teaching was one of the most stressful jobs that I've ever had. And I've been working since I was 16. It wasn't physically stressed. It was a mental stress, right? It was emotionally stressing. I was always making decisions, trying to figure out what's the next move. How can I get my students to succeed? How can I make the next lesson plan the best? How can I make sure that they pass this test? How can I make sure they pass this quiz? How can I make sure they're actually learning and doing their homework? Not only because I want them to succeed, but also because I want to succeed, and I want to succeed and make sure I keep my job. So if I want to keep my job, then guess what? I always feel like I had to be on all my P's and Q's. I had to be dotting all my I's and crossing all my T's and doing all the things to make sure I kept my job. I was a special educator. And as a special educator, a lot of times I go into other classrooms. So there was one day I was in a classroom. I was in a math class. It wasn't my class. It wasn't my class. As they would say, it is your class, but I wasn't the teacher of record, okay? I was the special education teacher inside of a general education setting classroom. There were about 35 students in this classroom. Now I'm in there because there are students who have individual education plans, IEPs, right? So there are students in this general education class who have learning disabilities. So I had to be in the classroom to make sure that I was an extra set of eyes and an extra set of help for those students. So this particular day, there was an unannounced evaluation from the person who was head over me and the teacher in which I was teaching with. So she came in for about 10 minutes and she evaluated the classroom. She evaluated me. She evaluated my teacher, the teacher that I was working with alongside, the teacher of record. Well, that day she was in the classroom for about it wasn't even 10 minutes. It was probably like 5 minutes. Now, during that 5 minutes, the other teacher was at the board and he's teaching. And so I'm walking around the classroom. I get my evaluation back and I get a bad evaluation. It says that I need improvement. So I'm trying to figure out, how do I need improvement? I'm doing my job. I'm walking around the classroom, making sure that I'm available to the students. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Well, I get a bad evaluation saying that the lesson plan wasn't on point and that we needed to do better with the lesson plan and all these other things, the lesson. So I go to her and I say immediately, during our meeting, what are your suggestions? What would you suggest? Well, she didn't really have any real suggestions for what she thinks should be done in our classroom. I say all that to say this. When it comes to work, a lot of times we are hustling when it comes to, these corporations and as employees, because there are these biased reviews that typically happen inside of these companies. Someone can see something from their own perspective because, again, she didn't ask for the lesson plan. She just sat in the classroom while the other teacher was teaching, while I was walking around. However, I got a bad review. Now, here's the thing. When people have an opportunity to be biased when it comes to their evaluations, it has this effect of people feeling like employees feeling as though they have to be on their P's and Q's. Right? And so if you are an employee, if you are in a 9-to-5 and you feel like you have to dot all your I's and cross all your T's, I want you to understand that possibly you feel like that because there might be some bias that can possibly happen. Maybe there are evaluations that can happen and you feel like, if someone comes here or sees me or sees what I'm doing, they might not approve of it. So employees often have to have this perfectionism, making sure they're being perfect, whether someone told you that you have to be perfect as an employee or did not tell you that you have to be perfect as an employee. They didn't say it. You might feel that in the culture of the company. And so if there is this culture within the company that says that you need to be dotting all your I's or crossing all your T's, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to tell you what I did. It got to a point where I eventually said, enough is enough, period. Enough is enough. I'm not going to allow this job to be the death of me. If there's anybody who's on your job who's dealing with different health issues, maybe they're always taking time off. They're saying, yeah, I'm dealing with this health issue. It might be because of the culture of the company. And so for you to not fall into the the depths and the parameters of the hustle culture of your company, understand that there are things you can do. So here's what I did. So number one, this might sound crazy, but I stopped caring. Now, I didn't stop caring about the job, but I stopped caring about people's opinions of how I was running my classroom. Because one thing I'm going to do is I'm not going to sit here and feel like I got to sit in perfection. I'm not perfect. And if you feel like I need to be perfect, that's on you. We need to now have a conversation of why you feel like I need to be perfect. And that's what I did. I went to her and I said, what would you say is the solution? And once I asked her that question and she had nothing for me, I realized, all right, this is bias. And one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to hustle my life so much so to the point where I'm sitting in a place of on my deathbed because of how you are viewing me in my classroom. It's not going to happen, because guess what? Once I clock out of here, I got children, I got a marriage, I got a husband, I got myself that I have to live for, period, right? So I had to reframe how I saw my job. It was no longer for me to be perfect, to dot all I's and cross all T's. I just started to see my job or my career as a route to the life that I wanted to live. And if that career did not allow me to live my life in such a way that I envisioned it, then either I needed to leave it or I needed to reevaluate how I was showing up on a job. Because again, as I said in the last episode, you will never be able to change people or control people. I can't control people. So the only thing that I can do, or that I did do, was control me. I controlled myself. There was one day where I was literally on the job in my classroom, and the room started to spin. It felt like the room was spinning. And what ended up happening was I said, let me get out of here. Let me go down to the nurse's office and see what's happening. Somebody sit down. She gave me some water. She took my blood pressure. And the next thing she said was, do you want me to call the ambulance? Because your blood pressure is high. I said, no, don't call the ambulance. Call my husband. Like, I'm gone. I left. I went and got my bags and I waited for my husband and I left. And that day I said, never again will I allow a job to be the near death of me. Again, heart disease is the number one killer of women in America. I want you to understand also that if you are a Black woman, you are 352% more likely to die from high blood pressure than your white counterparts. So that told me, listen, I need to get myself in control. I can only control me. All right. So number one, I stopped living in a place of perfection. If they saw my mistakes, oh well. If I didn't dot all my I's and cross all my T's, so be it. I'm going to show up as best as I can. So that was number one. I showed up as best as I can. I moved from a place of perfection. But number two, I stopped taking my laptop home. I realized I was doing too much. So that meant I needed to get more effective with my time at work. And that's exactly what I did. So what I would do at the beginning of the school year is I would plan out my year. I would say, all right, so here are the units that I know I'm going to be reaching. Let me pull out the resources from the year before that I can utilize again. I'm not going to try to create every single thing brand new, right? I'm going to reuse my lesson plans from the year before, which means I got to get efficient with writing my lesson plans so that the next year, right, my life is set up good. And the year after that, and the year after that, my life is set up good. That meant I had to get good and efficient with my time at work. Start utilizing a calendar, start writing down when I'm going to have my meetings, start backtracking when I'm going to have my meetings. I mean, I literally planned out my life at work so that my life at home could be better. So that way my life could be better. So it's not about being productive. Many times we make the mistake to think that productivity means do more. No, that's hustle culture. Productivity means to get efficient with your time. That's it. So if you're not a planner, it means how can I start to plan my life in such a way where it's just easy for me? But not just plan my life. How can I follow the plan? Because a lot of times we'll plan, but then we don't follow the plan. So how can I actually follow the plan? That means I got to create habits. Let me create habits. And one of the habits that I created was leaving my work at work. That is a habit. I left my laptop at work. I stopped taking my laptop home. I stopped doing that. I stopped doing that. I left whatever I didn't get done, I didn't get done, I made sure I got it done the next day. If I didn't have a lesson for the next day, okay, guess what we're going to do the next day? I'm going to use some resources. I'm either going to use a resource of another teacher, say, do you have a lesson? What are you guys doing? Or I'm going to pull out a Quizlet or quizzes, or we're going to review. We're going to look at the last test. But I'm going to sit in a place where I'm not going to feel like I always got to be creating something new, doing more, hustling. No, forget all that. I'm not going to do that. So that's what I did also. I stopped taking my laptop home. So number one, I stopped trying to sit in a place of perfection. If they saw my mistakes, then so be it. Number two, I got more efficient with my time. I stopped taking my laptop home. I left work at work. That was number two. And then number three, I started to focus on me. I started to focus on myself. I started to identify, how am I feeling? What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? For example, I'm at work. I feel stressed. My anxiety is up. The question that I need to ask myself, or you need to ask yourself, is why? What is the culprit of me feeling this anxiety? Am I doing too much? Am I trying to be perfect? Am I overthinking something? Do I need to have a conversation with somebody? Or do I need to just relax? Do I need to just rest? Did I get enough sleep last night? Am I not eating the right foods, right? Am I drinking too much coffee at work? Hello, are you a culprit of drinking too much coffee at work? That gets your nervous system moving too much. That gets your nervous system heightened, right? So now when my nervous system is heightened, now all of a sudden I'm in this fight or flight mode. No, drink less coffee. But ask yourself, what is this emotion that I'm feeling? And how can I be solution focused to, solve whatever it is that I'm feeling? Focus on the solution and not the problem. Hustle culture. It is not meant for you to just do more to get to the next level. It's for you to be efficient to get to your next level. Be okay with making mistakes. Be all right with not dotting all your I's and crossing all your T's. Be all right with saying, I'm going to leave work at work and I'm going to live my life at home. Be okay with setting those boundaries. Be okay with using no as a complete sentence. Be all right with not adding more to your plate. I think sometimes we're in hustle culture because we're trying to get to the next thing. We're trying to get to our vision. We're trying to create this life for ourselves, but we're trying to control things that's out of our control. Yes? So whatever is for you won't miss you. You don't have to hustle to get it. You don't have to grind to get it. You don't have to lose sleep to get it, because whatever is for you, it was predestined for you from the beginning. You don't have to hustle to get it. It says faith without works is dead. Yes, you got to do some work, but it don't say faith without hustle is dead, right? It don't say you got to hustle. It says you just got to do some work. But while you're doing the work, you got to make sure you are following Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, above all other things, guarding your heart. Guard your heart from the hustle. Don't allow hustle to cause you more stress, to cause you more anxiety, fatigue, frustration, anger, bitterness, resentment. It's causing you this mental anguish, this physical anguish. It's causing you to lose sleep. It's causing you to have this performance that is lackluster, because now you're moving to a place of always hustling. Now that you don't have any sleep, now that you don't have any energy, your performance is lackluster anyway. So stop hustling. Rest. Get your sleep. Eat nutritious food. Do the things that you need to do to focus on you, to move into that next season, because you're trying to accomplish a goal, and that's why you're hustling. But what's for you will not miss you. Yes? If you're watching this on YouTube, listen, like, comment, and subscribe. If you are watching this on any of the podcast platforms, subscribe to the podcast. And then share with me in the comments. Let me know, how has hustle culture affected you, and what can you do moving forward? I will see you in the next episode.